Welcome to the Ordinary Extraordinary Cemetery, where every death had a life and every life had a story. My name is Jenny Johnson.
Hello, and I'm Diane Hartshorn. I almost forgot my name for a minute.
You know what? This year has been, the last couple of months have just been flying by. So I get it. You and I have both been crazy busy, but we are going to have an actual cemetery conversation
Oh,
in
very
today's
cool.
episode, which it's been a little while since we've had one of those. So we are super excited about this. We would like to welcome some brand new guests to the show today. Today we have with us Eric and Megan Anderson. They are coming to us all the way from North Carolina, which I did visit for the very first time this year. I was there, well, last year, I guess, November. I was there in November. Beautiful state. I have a grandmother and some family that have moved out that way a few years ago. So I finally got out there to visit and enjoyed it. So welcome to the show.
Yeah, welcome.
Thank you so much for having us.
Thank you for having us. We're excited to have a conversation most people like to avoid.
This is true. And so the reason we have Eric and Megan on the show today is because they took over, quite literally took over the running of a cemetery back in 2008 in North Carolina. The cemetery is Holly Hill Memorial Park. And looking at your website and looking at pictures online, it looks like a lovely, lovely final resting place for families. But let's start with what even got you into doing this, because I think if I remember right from what I was told, this was not your first line of business. Like, this isn't where you started out, either one of you.
So it's not. And unfortunately, during the 2008 recession, I was in the metal roofing business and it was residential only. And most of the business that we got, we were working with homeowners and they were getting financing very easily up until that point. And everything kind of crashed out. And I thought, wow, I've got little babies and a family to take care of. So I thought, I wonder if I could get into something that's a little bit more stable. And then the light bulb went off. The town I grew up in, Wilmington, North Carolina, had a cemetery that I remember as a kid was actually really well taken care of. It had green grass and the features were nice. And my stepdad even worked there for a while when I was a kid. And so I just walked in one day and I said, look, I feel like I can make a difference here. The grass is gone, the features are in disrepair, and I think I could make a difference with your cemetery, bring it back to life and help things out where the community benefits and maybe I could benefit from it. And that's really where it all started.
And at the time, I was a homemaker, so our little ones were 4 and 5,
Yeah,
and or
maybe
in
even smaller.
it's younger. So I was,
3.
yeah, I was staying home, and when Eric first entered this industry, I hadn't gone through personal loss yet. I hadn't lost anyone super close. So I was a little detached from what he did, but when he started working in the industry and started coming home with the stories of the families he was serving, it was certainly a tender experience being the wife of someone that was meeting with people in this really heavy time in their lives. And I remember being very removed. I was like, I love you and I will do whatever you need, but no.
You didn't want anything to do with serving in that capacity.
I was like, I've got little ones and we are learning how to walk and talk and be in the world. And I just didn't really have any kind of personal awareness of what he was doing on a day-to-day basis. So he would come home with stories, and of course, there's a heart for it, but I hadn't been touched by loss.
Right.
And that was our introduction to corporate cemetery funeral home world.
That's so
Yeah.
interesting that you say that. I just had a conversation with somebody yesterday who had been dating a mortician, and she was like, every time he would talk to me about his work, she's like, I just couldn't relate to it in any way. And she's like, and it started to get really weird because she was feeling detached and removed from it. She's
Right.
not dating him any longer, but it was just an interesting conversation to have. And then to hear you say that. But I also think it depends on where you are in life. And like you said, you hadn't had that personal loss yet. So to be able, you feel bad for these families, you hear about it and you're like, yeah, that's really sad, but it doesn't hit that level of personal grief yet because you hadn't suffered it. But I'm really glad that you, Eric, went and approached the cemetery, realizing it needed care and that it needed something. There's so many times that people will see the cemetery or they'll see a park or they'll see anything and they'll say, oh, it's too bad nobody's doing anything about that. And then they just
Well,
kind of go on with their life. And you actually took the initiative and said, I can do this for you.
I had no idea what I was getting into.
Sometimes that's the
No,
best way to start something, though,
right.
honestly.
It is.
No,
It is.
but it turned into, something way more fulfilling than I thought it would ever. I was used to hiring and training and marketing and sales and all of those types of things, management. And I thought I can help this place and more from a business mindset.
Mhm.
But when I started serving families and having those interactions, and it was like, whoa, this is really important, really meaningful. And you make connections with people like that last sometimes through a lifetime. And when that started happening, it started changing me. So and I'm sure we'll get into the conversation further, but that, it changed my life, to be honest with you.
I will
No,
tell you,
it's
I
a job.
remember
Sorry. Go ahead. Sorry.
the first time he came home with a story that really kind of rocked our household. It was a Mother's Day, and he was there at the cemetery, just being available. And he came home that night, and he said there was this father that they had just buried his wife. And the father showed up and he opened the back door and his little girls got out of the car. And Eric was there and he just kind of walked up to the family and the littlest girl said, "We have flowers for mommy. She's in heaven." And he said, "Megan, I looked at this man and he's looking at me kind of lost, like, what do I do? I have these girls, my wife's here." And he said the gentleman looked like he almost needed permission to grieve.
Mhm.
So my husband, who had two little ones at home, kind of got on the level of the little ones and let them tell him about their mama. And they talked about their mom and how she was in heaven and they were bringing her flowers, and it broke his heart because I was home with our little ones, and he said he started crying, and this man almost seemed like he needed permission to cry, and so the whole family just mourned for a moment. And when he came home, I'll never forget it. He walked in the front door, he just about dropped to his knees, and he grabbed me. He said, "You can't go anywhere. I can't lose you. Like I can't, you just," and he was so broken for this family and just for mothers. And it was the first time I saw the humanity behind not a personal connection, but just seeing it and him being touched by it. And that's when it really shifted my perception of what he was doing every day.
Well, and
Is that
it's a job that not everybody can do.
Right.
Right.
I mean, because where I work, there have been many that have filtered through because it does take a toll. I mean, when you're working with families 5 days a week
Mhm.
and you have to have that time for yourself to sort of like reset everything on the weekend or not talk to anybody all weekend.
Yeah.
Um,
Yes.
but not everybody, yeah, because I come home, it's like, don't talk to me. I'm good. Just let me just be in my own little silent whatever it
Your
happens
bubble.
to be. The bubble,
Yeah,
my bubble. And
absolutely.
because it's a very sacred gift that we are given, I think, to be there, to be the ones that are serving these families. Because again, I've worked in with this cemetery on and off for about 10 years. And there have been people who had no business being in that position. And
Yes.
it really is an honor
So
of what
what
we
I
do.
say is it's a one shot. You got one shot to do it right. It doesn't
Yep.
matter what you have going on, what
Mhm.
happened that morning, if you have a headache, if you had a fight. And with us, we're married, so like we could have had that treatment.
And it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. And when we've hired people, I'm like, listen, this is a big ask. When you meet with someone, your existence at that moment has to take a back burner.
Yep.
They're going through potentially the worst moments of their life. And so your job is to serve them with integrity and love. Like nothing else that you're going through matters. Be there because you got one shot. You got one shot to answer their questions the first time correctly. You've got one shot to lay their loved one to rest with honor and respect and love and gentleness. It doesn't matter. You can't say, I'm really sorry. I was having a bad day. Can we
Mhm.
That's not
Yeah,
how
no.
cemeteries work.
There's no
So,
do-overs.
yeah, we are. I'm thankful that God has given us this ability to be aware, so we don't walk in and mishandle someone out of just ignorance. Because I don't think that anyone in our industry, even if they shouldn't does it out of malice. They might just not be aware of the importance. So I'm because of what Eric saw, and then the thing that we endured that led me to start serving in this capacity. I'm certainly not thankful for loss, but I am thankful for the awareness that we've been given to do it the right way. I would really hate to mishandle someone in this situation ever.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So you went from just going in there, Eric, of it
Yes.
saying, let me help you clean up this cemetery, make it green again, make it look nice again, make the features work again.
Right.
How did it come to, because this cemetery, I, I did look up when it was founded. When was it originally founded? And how had it gotten to this decline, this point of decline that made you say, I need to go and help fix this? And then from there, you guys eventually became the owners of the cemetery, which that,
Well, so just to clarify, the cemetery that I started at,
oh, okay.
okay, was in Wilmington.
Oh,
So
that's right. You
that's
did
not the
say that.
cemetery we're at now, but basically, yeah. So when I came in, it was in disrepair, and I knew that to bring life back into the cemetery, to right,
We've
we
always said
needed,
there's life in a cemetery. Yes, it's for the
yeah,
dead, but there is
we
lots
Beautiful.
of life in it.
it's for the living, right? So
Mhm.
anyway, I knew that we needed to actually bring in, business and serve the families well enough and earn that business so that we could improve those things. And I did that. The first year was a little rough, but we did well, and I was able to improve some things. The second year we did really well, and we were able to improve the features, get the grass growing again, get the irrigation working again, and all of those types of things. And by year three, it was perfect. I mean,
Oh, that's amazing.
I think.
Well,
So
and what happened was, so this is corporate owned, and because of Eric's ability to turn things around, they had him traveling to other cemeteries within their corporation. So he was gone a
All
lot.
the time.
Yeah, he was leaving on Monday and he was coming back on Thursday. Then he would pour back into his home base. So he was traveling a great deal. The cemetery in Wilmington was doing great. And then he was off and traveling, and I was staying home, and things were great. Other than he was gone, but we weren't really aware. And then we had a sudden loss. My father passed extremely unexpectedly. We actually had dinner with him, and he was driving home and had a massive heart attack and passed.
Oh, I'm so
Um,
sorry.
Thank you. And it shifted our axis because here we were having dinner with my dad, and I was a daddy's girl. He had just spent the weekend prior with our children. And then he was gone. And we looked at each other and we were like, do you think he lamented the time he spent with his children and grandchildren? You're gone all the time. We should do something about this. And then that was also, so that was when I sat on the other side. So my dad passed, and here was my mom and I.
yeah, and I was managing the funeral home and cemeteries at that point. I had both. I had then absorbed Oleander Memorial Gardens, Green Lawn, and two funeral homes
Oh my
to
goodness.
manage. So I was managing it and taking care of my family, my wife and my father-in-law and my mother-in-law. And if you want to continue the story, I mean, it was still, I don't know how to even put it. And I tell people all the time, I'm like, even though, and I tried to talk to him about it, like, let's take care of things ahead of time. Not that he was in bad health, but I'm
Well, you
seeing
just
these
never,
things
yeah.
every day.
Yep.
And but yours. your experience with it is, I think, what led you to go, you know what, I want to do this with you now.
It was we tried to talk to my dad about it, but like a lot of people, um, I'm fine, I don't need it,
Especially the men.
especially dudes. And and so when I was sitting on the other side of the table with Eric and his staff, and they were asking my mom questions and I questions. I'm the oldest, and then it was, and we were having to not only go through losing him, but we couldn't really mourn him because we were trying to conduct business.
Mhm.
What would he want? What's the smart thing financially? Like all these things, we weren't even able to. Our brain was ripped in two between grief and loss and business, and so seeing that and experiencing that really made me go, oh, if I have ever been given a talent by the Lord, if I've ever been given a skill or a heart or anything, I want to help people because, oh my gosh, I'm so thankful that it was my husband. So when I had that question that maybe felt foolish or emotional, I didn't get looked at like what, it was with tenderness and mercy. And so I could ask and my mom could ask because it was Eric. We'd been married for years, so we were handled appropriately. And that's when I was like, okay, if possible, I want to be able to help families go through these steps. And the loss of my dad and thinking about Eric's time with me and our children made us leave corporate cemetery funeral home and seek family owned. And that's when we landed in Middle Tennessee
Yep.
for a family owned operation outside of Nashville and Columbia, Tennessee.
Which was really good. And then we moved to North Carolina to manage the cemetery we now own, but we managed it first for about 5 years.
Yes.
That is so.
It's a journey.
It is, but you know what? I think for a lot of people in the death care industry in general, whether you're running a funeral home, whether you're a mortician, I think it doesn't matter. I think it is a journey to get there.
Yeah.
Somebody has to experience something, then that makes them say, this is why I want to do this job. This is why I want to be, because as you said, with your dad, he didn't want to talk about the pre-planning and making plans for what would happen when he was gone. And we know factually, a lot of people don't. They don't want to think about what happens when they're gone, even though they have children, even though they have things that they know are going to have to get handled after their death. But it's still a topic they don't want to sit down and discuss because they don't want to be sad about it. They don't want to make somebody else sad about it.
Right.
Or they just don't want to think about that end. And we've said it for a long time. And with other guests that we've had on the podcast, when death care left the family, when it left the home as it used to be handled, then it became more of a taboo subject that people talked about. So the less we talked about it, the less connected we feel to it, and the harder it is for anybody to have to handle it. So the fact that you guys went on this journey from suffering through a recession, or not suffering, but trying to figure out how you're going to survive that recession in 2008 financially,
Right.
which changed your career choices, to
Right.
all of these other things. And now you own a cemetery and you run the cemetery. And with both of you, you're making sure that the people who are coming into your cemetery and leaving their loved ones with you feel very comfortable with that particular choice, that they've done the right thing and they can go and visit and have somewhere where they feel peaceful, which doesn't always happen for people.
No.
Yeah. Last night I spoke to a father who lost his infant daughter, and I served him and helped him with that service. But he came to our lantern event last night and ribbon cutting for a Letters to Heaven feature that we just opened up. And he said that to me. He said, I'm really thankful that we're here and that you guys own this cemetery. He said, it feels important. You've created a space where I know that my daughter, her memory is loved, her special place where her remains are cared for. And he was like, I know it's not Arlington, but he said it felt like that. It felt like,
wow.
I know that this place is cared for. I know that the people who run it care for me and my loved one and her memory, and it shows. And he said, so when I drive in here, it feels like a different atmosphere. And he was like, and I just want to thank you for doing that for me and my family. And that hit. I mean, that hit.
I didn't even know that till just now.
Yeah, I didn't tell Megan. It just happened last night.
We just had the ribbon cutting last night,
So we've had a lot going on until then, but yeah. Yeah, you remember the one in Garden?
I know her mama.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
So,
Yeah.
yes. We can get into Holly Hill, but we did have a big event. It was probably our biggest community event last night. So
Yeah.
we can talk about Holly Hill whenever you're ready.
We
So-
we could talk about both, but yes,
Yeah.
let's talk about Holly Hill.
Definitely.
What I mean, you were managing it, then it led to ownership. How did that transition occur? Because not very many people get to say they actually own the cemetery.
I want to tell the story.
Okay.
I want to tell the story.
Sure.
Okay.
It's a God thing. For sure.
So we are in Middle Tennessee. We're working for a wonderful family-owned operation, cemetery funeral. They allowed me to step into a role of assisting Eric at the cemetery. I didn't have cemetery experience, but I did learn how to read cemetery records and use the software. And we were serving families in tandem. Two things were wrong with that situation. One, we were about 12 hours away from grandparents who still lived on the coast of North Carolina. And two, Eric's a surfer. And so he was really landlocked and got super grumpy. Like
It's true.
He loves
Not much
North
surfing
Carolina.
in Tennessee.
Yeah, no. He loves North Carolina and he loves the water. So but also we were in a wonderful church and a wonderful small group, and the people around us, they were, we were in a wonderful community, and we both kind of prayed like, God, can we move somewhere where we can make a difference?
That's right.
And I prayed desperately, like, please send us somewhere where we can help people, because I feel like where we're at, it's good. Like they're loving on each other and the community's growing, and let's go somewhere that maybe needs some extra love.
Yeah, it was more like a plug and play. And
I-
things were good. The community was good. The cemetery was good.
Yeah, I'm gonna tell you what, be careful what you ask for. So what happened was,
Yeah.
someone called us who actually used to work with Eric in the metal roofing industry.
He worked for me.
Yeah, he worked for Eric, and he said, hey, so I know these people, they have this really beautiful little cemetery
In North Carolina.
in North Carolina. Would you wanna? And we were like, huh?
Wow.
So, but then another corporate opportunity opened up. So we were given like a choice, and we thought we knew what we wanted to do. And God has a lovely way of being like, I'm still in control. So a lot of pieces shifted, and we landed at Holly Hill, and had no idea how much we were going to be able to make a difference. And for the first couple of years, I was like, dude, I didn't sign up for this.
She was showing me all the other jobs and call them back and what are we doing here? I mean, it was rough. It really was. The community is a wonderful community, and now that we have earned their trust, I couldn't ask for a better place. But first coming in,
initially it was rough. So there wasn't a place for me at Holly Hill. We first moved, there was no job for me, so I had to go back to not working at the cemetery, and Eric got his job, and there was a staff, and so we moved, and
there was a big pay cut. It was just, we were like, but this is what we're supposed to be doing. We're going to make a difference. That's what we prayed for, right?
Eventually he asked me if I could come in and help, because I did know how to do cemetery software and records. So he said, can you come be an assistant or part-time assistant? Sure, I know how to do this. And eventually things happened, and then I became the office manager. And so and then all the staff were removed except for one woman whose name is Angela, and she's now been with the cemetery for 2.5 decades.
Oh, wow.
And she is the sweetest, most genuine, wonderful human being to grace planet Earth.
She's family.
Yeah, she really is.
She's family.
But she started as she started cleaning the office 25 years ago. Her and her mom came to clean the office, and then she got an administrative role. And then someone saw her and said, you're a people person. You should work with families. And she was terrified. But now she has served hundreds of families, but she's the only person that we kept. And but still, I was like, I don't know about this. There's too much. And every time I was really compelled to leave, two things happened. Number one, my husband said, Megan, I feel like the Lord has led us here. This is what we prayed for, and this is where I'm at. And then we would say, what about Angie?
Yeah.
And I'm not kidding you.
Yeah.
When we would think about truly, if we left, we would think about this woman who is genuine and hardworking and honest. And it
She had been taken advantage of,
by the last
Mm.
manager. Yeah.
probably mental, emotional abuse, even that. I mean, just not
Yeah.
good stuff.
Yeah.
So she's a precious lady and didn't deserve that. So those were our two main reasons, and
Yeah.
so we stuck it out.
Yeah, I said, what if we left, what would happen to Angie? And ultimately it was how my husband was led, and then this precious woman. And with the two of those, we can't leave. Like we can't leave. And he kept saying, I think one day we're gonna have Holly Hill. And I'm like, babe, we're not independently wealthy. Like, I don't know what you mean. We can't own this cemetery. And he's like, nah, and so ultimately, we were at a cemetery convention in Charlotte with the owner, who was the granddaughter of the original founders of Holly Hill.
Wow.
And she's having dinner with us and her husband, and she gets emotional and she looks at us and she goes, look, I don't know if this is possible, but I don't want my family's legacy to end up in the hands of the wrong people or a corporation that doesn't care for this community. I want to figure out a way for your family to have it. And when I tell you, you could have pushed me over with and Eric's looking at me like, I told you.
She said over these last 3.5 years,
Yeah.
whatever it was, she said, I've watched you and watched your family. You are perfect for doing this. If there's anything that we can do to make this work for you, and you're willing to take on this mammoth responsibility, we want to help you. And that's when I started crying, because I was like, I knew God told me to come here.
Yep.
So
And then I started crying and she's crying
Yeah.
and then about a year and a half later, we signed all the papers.
Yep.
Wow. That's
So
amazing.
that's how we went from managing and doubting and
struggling.
and then overcoming. And I have to say though, and this is obviously you see things in hindsight 2020. I'm thankful now that we had to earn it, because if we had come into an ideal situation, when I presented things to the community like letters to heaven or floating lanterns or all of the ideas I've had, they probably would have looked at me a little more like, but because we've been able to be there and earn their trust now,
Day after day. Yeah.
when they reciprocate our familiarity and our love, it's because they know who we are. We
Right.
didn't just walk into a cakewalk. We're friends. We worship with them. We grocery shop with them. We live with them. And so,
And they didn't trust the cemetery before us. So, and here we are, strangers coming in from a strange land, right?
Yeah.
yeah,
Small
we
town.
don't talk like them.
It was all the challenges. But yeah, it was perfect. I mean, it helped us grow. It helped us do a better job, no doubt. It
True.
really did.
We have people that came in and go, "Where are you from? You don't sound like you're from here." And we're like, "Well, no, not originally. We're not, and that's okay." But it's
But we
been
just kept serving, kept sacrificing, and then eventually they saw who we were. It wasn't just
the opportunity to earn it,
it
and
wasn't
that's
a flash in the pan. It wasn't a gimmick. Like, we live here. We're
Mhm.
committed.
not going anywhere.
Yeah.
That was the other thing. We kept hearing rumors. Well, I heard, and it's like, no, we put our roots down.
Well, and if
Well, how big is
I was going to say the important thing was when the granddaughter was talking to you and said
yeah.
she didn't want her family's legacy to go to a corporate entity. This is why you guys were sent there, because eventually you guys were going to have to take it over. And you asked, where can we go to be
Yeah.
helpful?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
So
And I'm
Doesn't
so
mean it was
thankful
going to be a
for
straight
that prayer.
road.
yeah.
So how
That's
big
it.
is your cemetery? How big is your cemetery?
50.4 acres total. 36 are developed. About 9 of the other acres that aren't developed are cleared. Right at the moment, we've got some vaults.
It's our vault farm.
Yeah, we call it the vault farm.
A vault
like it.
farm.
Yes, we have our vaults
Stored
Stored
the
there.
concrete vaults stored there. Yeah.
until you're ready to use that land. I love
Yep.
that.
That's right.
So it sounds like you guys, since you've taken over, obviously it definitely needed new management and new people to come in and rebuild the trust of the community, which now you have. So what are some of the events and the things that you have done that have really made your community realize the importance of having the cemetery and everything that it does for them, not just the fact that it's there where they can put their dead loved ones, but this has become a community again and a place
Yes.
where people want to be. So what are some of those things that you've incorporated since taking over?
So one of the things that we didn't start, but we have grown exponentially is the candlelight at Christmas. It's the first Saturday in December. When we first got here, there might have been 2,500, 3,000 candles, something like that, which is still a lot.
Yeah.
But this last year we did 10,000 candles. We
Oh,
had,
how
I think,
cool.
over 200 volunteers, and go ahead.
I was because well to explain the event. 'Cause a lot of cemeteries have candlelights, and the one that I learned from in Tennessee was different. So Holly Hills Candlelight is a charitable fundraiser. So the families buy candles. They're $3. They've been $3 since we started. Each candle is $3. All the proceeds go to the charities that provide the volunteers to get the candles
Oh,
prepared
cool.
and placed and lit. So several weeks before the event, we have the volunteers come out and we put about a cup's worth of sand in big clear deli containers. We don't do the bags because that's a fire hazard. So they're the big clear deli cups.
Right.
So that's the first step. And then families will come starting on November 1st and they buy white flags. One flag equals one candle. And so it's $3 each, and they put a flag in the ground for their loved one. And you can do as many as you want. And it's $3 each. And then the day of the event, everyone comes in the morning and there's sets of two, and one person will carry a sleeve of like the cups, and then another person carries a box of candles. And you place the cup and the candle and you pull the wick up and you get the cemetery done, and then you come back and you light them.
Yeah.
When we started, it was about 2,500 candles and one charitable organization. Now we have 10,000 candles and several charitable organizations, and it is absolutely remarkable to see.
If you have a chance to look at it on our website or Facebook,
Yeah.
it's amazing watching the drone flyovers, but there's hundreds and hundreds of cars that pull through. Our 55-foot tower plays music. I hooked it up with a sound
Oh,
system, so it echoes all over the cemetery with Christmas music. And so everybody that drives by, we wave at them. Thanks for being here. I'm usually cruising around on my one wheel, making sure traffic is flowing, making sure candles are staying lit. But it's super heartwarming during that time. I get, lots of thank yous, lots of hugs, lots of stories about their loved ones and, missing them and special moments that they've had that they share. It's a very long day from like, 6 in the morning until about 10 o'clock that night, but it is well worth it. So it really is a big event. We're on the news,
And
newspapers, and the community comes out in mass, and it's all about the glow from the candle
from the
to
candles,
represent the life that they miss and love. And that's our motto. It matters because
because they
they
matter.
matter. They don't mattered, right? It's not a
right.
past tense. They still do.
Yep.
And so that's sprinkled into everything that we do. Their memory matters. You still matter. Your healing matters. Your all of it.
And we had some bumps in the road with this candlelight because that previous manager, he
Oh,
really diminished the event. That's why when we got there, it was really diminished and people were bitter about it. And then we came in and we started talking about it, and then one year the wind wouldn't stop and it kept blowing people's candles out. And we got yelled at a lot. So the next year we went to LED battery operated candles.
and we did a lot of research. We bought many of them, and we'd take them into the file room where it was dark, and we'd light it and put it. Oh yeah, that one looks good. Oh, that one's not bright enough. And we found what we feel like looked real. They were flickering. It was the right color. It wasn't this weird, like hyper bright blue
Right.
light. It was a yellow and it was bright. And we thought, oh, this is going to work. We
It was
put them all
terrible.
out and oh my God.
Everybody was so mad. They literally were so mad. And so that was
Aw.
when we had kind of opaque cups. So the next year we're like, we're going to use these battery candles, but we're going to get clear cups.
That's
And
going
it
to work.
still wasn't good. So I was like, I will never use a battery operated candle as long as I live, I promise.
So now we always have a disclaimer. As long as the weather
Yeah,
agrees with
if
us,
the wind blows them out, I'm so sorry.
you're going to see all the glowing candles. If not, it's not our fault.
Yeah, but we've had several good years. not this past year, but the last year was the first year we hit 10,000, and we realized 10,000 is the max. We just can't, we can't, if you, once you light the first one, the timer's going. So from the
Right.
first one, yeah, so 10,000 is our max, but we've even created an orphan candle program that businesses can buy. We'll sponsor candles for those that have been there for so many years, there's no one left. And so we light, there's a whole garden that goes along the road that we have the whole garden lit. Everyone gets a candle,
Oh, I love
sponsored by businesses, and that we give all the money to the local charities. And it is, oh, it's just, and we have youth groups come from churches to help
Yeah.
us. I mean, it's
People from the neighborhood that we started off in, they still come.
with their own
our
lighters.
own-
It's great. It's just, it's really wonderful. It's one of the biggest events in our town for Christmas. So that's one
That
of the
is so
events that
cool.
we've
I
done.
love that. I love how it brings your whole community together. Like this sounds more fun to me than driving through a light display
Yeah.
or something.
Yes.
But also the fact that not only are you getting to remember all those 10,000 loved ones in the cemetery, and people are sharing their stories and having those moments of remembrance, but you are supporting other members of your community by doing this event. So not only you get to have these memories with people, but you get to fully support
Mhm.
your community in so many ways. That this is just one of those events that is absolutely stunning and beautiful. I'm so glad you've been able to grow it to what it is now.
So there's several other things that really started as Megan's brainchild. What was the first one? Was it a food drive?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll let Megan tell us.
So I was serving on, it's one of the organizations that we support, but I was serving on a board for a nonprofit that helps with food scarcity in families and electrical bills. And they also offer parenting classes and obedience classes. So it's just for families in turmoil. And I was on that board and they were doing a food drive. This was when I was the office manager. So years before we were anywhere close to
I
owning
don't
it.
even know if you were office manager.
I don't know, maybe not. And I went to the owner, Julia, and I was like, "Can I do a food drive?" And she was like, "At a cemetery?" I'm
Yeah,
like,
she was like, what?
"Yeah, man. Do you know how many people come through?" And she's like, "All right." So it started with a basket, and we started collecting food. Um, that led me to then ask for us to support a toy drive for Christmas presents for Lexington. So we had some friends that were on a nonprofit in Lexington, and they were like, "We do presents for kids." And so I was like,
And
"Julia."
it was all local children.
Yeah, that's right. Because Toys for Tots and different things, they don't necessarily stay in your community.
Right.
So I was like, "Ooh, can we do toys?" She's like, "At a cemetery?" I'm like, "Yeah, girl, you have no idea." So we started collecting, and the first year we did the toy drive, we filled the
Filled the front
foyer,
office.
like it was
I mean, it
bikes
was-
and everything, because
Oh,
People
cool.
people came in and they saw it and said, why you got a bike in your, and I'm like, "Oh, we're collecting toys." And they were like, "I want to give back." And so it was like, because we were taking care of their family or their mother then it meant more for them to give to that connection point. Like they're honoring their mama by giving toys to kids in the community. So doing it in the cemetery wasn't weird to them. It was deeper and it was better. So we had people, I'm giving in honor of my mom. I'm giving in honor of my child. And so we had toys just, and so we, food drives and toy drives, and then we got asked to do a school supply drive, and we were constantly collecting, and people were coming to the cemetery that actually didn't even have loved ones with us, but to give because they knew that it was a central point in our community that was going to get it to the people that they knew and they worked with and they saw every day.
And at this point, we have the largest one in our community, probably even in the county. We take in so many toys now. We're serving about 150 kids in our county.
Oh, how nice.
And we set up, I mean, we have, I'd say 1,000, 1,500 toys,
Oh,
big
way more
toys,
than
little,
that.
I mean, thousands. And we got the community center and we set up tables with gender and age, and we're all in there working and separating all of the items that we got. And we meet with the families when they get there the next day.
We help the
And
parents
walk
shop.
with them and show them, hey, you could get this, and what age is your child? What's going on in your life? Is there anything I can pray with you about? And everything like that. And so
It was so good.
it's huge.
Oh, that
Yeah,
is so cool.
And actually, it got so big that our attorney was like, "Y'all need a nonprofit.
Yeah.
Like, you guys, you're doing too much. People are going to want tax receipts." So we started a nonprofit. It's called Holly Hill Cares, and it's a 501c3. And so now the toy drive that we were supporting in the other community, we took because that organization did not last, and I was like, what about all the kids?
What about the kids?
So
Yeah.
okay, we'll do it. So now we are the toy drive, and we take families from the whole county, and we also have
First responders.
our first responders event.
Almost
That's
forgot
the other.
about that.
So
That's next weekend.
it is. And I know we haven't had any questions. I can stop and ask.
Yeah, yeah.
No.
We're loving all of this.
Okay.
Okay.
So Eric and I, one of the things we've done with Holly Hill is when we have organizations in Thomasville that are doing things for the community, we're sponsors.
Yes.
And one of the things we used to sponsor was the music series that was throughout the summer with one of the local venues. And
Yeah.
one of the levels, if you sponsor to a certain level, you got the Finch House, which is a wedding venue. It's gorgeous, free. And I was like, babe, if I had the Finch House for one night, what would I do with it? And I was like, ooh, I would want to throw a party for first responders.
Yeah.
And he was like, well, that's a good idea. And literally from there, that year, before we had our nonprofit established, I was like, well, let's just rent it and throw a party for first responders. And he was like, go for it, babe. So we did, and we invited first responders plus a guest, and it was completely free, and it was a big venue, and we catered the meal. And we have a friend who's a DJ who's also a veteran and a first responder, and so he provided entertainment, and we asked local businesses to donate gifts. And so the first year we had 150 first responders plus guests, and they showed up, and we showered them with gifts.
It was 130 gifts. I mean, everything from gift cards to
diamonds to guns. I mean, like, people give. Like, it was amazing. And
we are in the South, so that's a favored prize.
Yeah,
guns,
but
pew pews.
That's why we have the nonprofit. So now we have Holly Hill Cares, and our focus is first responders and children. We support the Ronald McDonald House. We do food drives. We help veterans. We do a lot of things, but our two big is kids and first responders. And literally next Saturday is our third annual. So we're last responders celebrating first responders.
I love that.
Oh,
I love that so much.
So we'll have 170 attendees, and it's like I said, current and retired first responders plus a guest. It's completely free, DJ, and we have hundreds of prizes. And this year the prizes we have estate planning, we have vacations, we have Bass Pro Shop said they give $300 today.
The prizes this year are crazy. Crazy. Yeah.
But it's at a local venue that's owned by two local teachers. It's called Secret Meadows. And I was really surprised to find out that there'd never been a party for first responders.
Not like this. I mean, there's people that say thank you, and maybe they do some things here and there, but never like a gala.
Yeah,
this
gala
is
for
an
first
honor.
responders.
Take a day, take a night, and it's a date night, really. So it's no children, and so you have the first responder and a guest. Just come enjoy yourself. There's no agenda, no nothing.
No politics.
We're throwing a party for you. It's even in our bylaws.
Yeah,
politics are not allowed. So the politicians that want to show up, we're like, I'm so sorry. So anyway,
I love that. You're just like, we're here to say thank you.
That's it.
Yeah,
for what you do for us.
We have 3 first responders on our board of directors. We have a banker. Our sweet Angie is on our board of directors because I love that woman. And Jamal, who works for Holly Hill, and
saw him in the camera earlier.
Yes, we did.
Yes, he's the vice president of the nonprofit because he's kind of who got us connected with the original toy drive. So
that's right.
Before
he worked for us.
That's right. We knew Jamal before he ever worked for us, but we have people on the board that love the right kinds of things, right? Like, we're celebrating people that sacrifice. We're celebrating people that put their lives on the line. We're celebrating children and school supplies and food scarcity. And
those people, they go through hard things like we do. So we know what it's like to carry this burden and then come home, and it's a struggle. That's one of the things that they talk about a lot. So having that freedom, I know it's only one night, but they are really, they're thankful that somebody is thinking about them and cares and is doing something. And the community has really showed up. Especially the businesses. I mean, the gifts that they're giving now, it's amazing. It's getting bigger and bigger. I think last year we even had Carrie Earnhardt, which
Yes.
was Dale Earnhardt's first
Mhm.
first son. He
He-
came and spoke,
did.
and they gave some.
They gave a lot of gifts, yes. So
Oh,
we're growing it, and it's open to, what it is we're giving locals the opportunity to say, hey, just so y'all know, we have your back. And so our first responders know that the community supports them. So it's 911, and it's fire, and it's the people that work at the jail, and it's obviously law enforcement, but and I've been told that the 911 and people that work at the jail, they get forgotten a lot. They're like, we
Mhm.
don't. And I'm like, they're like, are we allowed? I'm like, Miss Ma'am.
Oh yeah.
Nothing happens without administrators. Like, y'all, if you work when you're doing the
from one
yes,
administrator to another, yes.
yes. So I think that's one of the things I'm most thankful for is Holly Hill has given me the opportunity to serve families in their heaviest moments, but it's also given me the platform to celebrate lives. And whether we did our Letters to Heaven event last night, and there was a lot of tenderness there.
Yes.
But then next Saturday, we're supporting first responders and their spouses, and so it's like I get to celebrate life. And how ironic is that a cemetery provided the biggest celebration of life, but shouldn't that be how it works?
Well,
Because that's what it is.
I no doubt I believe in this, and I'm sure you ladies do too, but a cemetery should be the heart of the community, the hug. Like we love
Yeah.
you. This is the place that you can come and know that you're loved, know that you can heal, and and I think that that's our mission. Keeping memories alive, treat others like you want to be treated. And I know that for me personally, when I sat down last night and we talked about this letters to heaven thing and how great of an idea it is, but I've never done it. So I sat down and wrote a letter to one of my family members, my grandfather, and it hit me. Like I started tearing up, and I'm saying things like things are flowing out of the pen that I didn't realize I had to say. Like I wanted to say, and it was like, wow, this really is healing. This is a good thing for me to be able to do, and that connection and putting it in the mailbox. So it was just confirmation. Like this is one of the most important, impactful things that you can do as a profession, and it matters, and it's meaningful. And that's one of the things I'm most thankful for is you can have a job and that's meaningful no matter what your job is,
Yeah.
but I feel like ours is one of the most meaningful if you do it right.
Out of curiosity, how big is your community?
Oh, Thomasville, I think the population in Thomasville is 26,000. But we also have surrounding communities, Denton and
Trinity, Lexington, Midway.
But mainly the core populace is Thomasville.
That's pretty impressive for a community of only 26,000 people.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And just to tell you what Eric's talking about, Letters to Heaven, because it was what we did last night. I had an idea a couple months ago, and it was kind of tying in. So we're on the North Carolina Memorial Day Parade Committee, and they retire flags as part of honoring Gold Star families, and then just how do we celebrate loved ones and stay connected? Because I know that I'm a certified funeral celebrant, so one of the things I was taught was after someone's been gone, you don't get to say their name. So we're constantly thinking about how can we keep these people relevant and do it in a way that doesn't feel forced. So we thought Letters to Heaven. So we have now created a space. It's this beautiful, Eric built it way bigger than I thought it was going to be, but it's a roof and it's a deck and it's a bench and it's gorgeous and you can sit in there. There's a bench. And we had this custom little house built with a copper roof by one of our local places called Timber Creek. And there's stationery inside. And then we bought this super cool locked metal, old-fashioned looking mailbox.
It's about 3 foot tall and it's got ornate
lions
and
we
painted
did
it pearl.
Yeah, we painted it pearlescent white. We had our friend who has a collision place, and he paints cars, so he did this beautiful paint job. And so you can write a letter to your loved one, and you can place it in this locked mailbox, and it's safe. No one's ever going to read it. And it's right by our pond with the fountain and the book of life. And then occasionally we will retire the letters and send them to heaven in a chimenea that's also going to be painted white. And it's gonna and we do that in our floating lanterns. So the last summer the idea I had was floating lanterns. So the movie Rapunzel where you set the
Yep.
lantern up, but that's not safe for animals. So we did floating lanterns on the pond, candle, paper, draw pictures.
Yeah. And I get the privilege of launching them all. So
Oh, how
Yeah,
fun.
yeah.
and reading all the messages, like, I hope you're proud of me, and we had our first baby and we miss you so much. And I love you, my
Oh,
sweet man, and miss you, grandma, and your biscuits. Nobody made it like you. I mean, all these things as I'm launching them out, and it's just like hitting you like this matters.
Yeah,
Right? And
yeah.
it's
So
just-
that's the letters or the lanterns kind of led us to letters to heaven, but now it's in tandem. And so last night we did the ribbon cutting for the letters to heaven event, and people showed up with letters they had written at home.
already.
They
Yeah.
were
Oh.
ready to put them in our mailbox. And I was like, and they were little kids. And I'm like, did you guys bring letters? And then we did the floating lanterns and we launched them. And we had a local business that was Hawaiian Ice come. And they were like, we just want to give the community treats while they're here. And
Yeah, they said they were doing it at no charge
Yeah.
because of all that we do for the community, and they want to help with that. So it's just,
had a bunch of people at the cemetery last night. So Saturday night, and they're talking about their loved ones, and they're doing lanterns and letters, and
Keep
everyone
putting out.
was safe and loved on. And we had one person break down. She started crying. I said, "Ma'am,
this is the
this
safe
is where it's
place.
safe to do that.
That's
Like you cry as much as you want." And I held her, and this is what cemetery should be. Because think about permanency. How many towns have permanent things, right?
Mhm.
Cemeteries are that. So if you want to know that you can count on a place to take care of you in perpetuity, it should be your local cemetery.
That's right.
Oh, you guys have created
Yes.
an absolute beautiful
Yes.
cemetery and community
you.
space. So not only does your community feel safe leaving their loved ones with you, but they're going there to spend time with each other and with you, and you guys are supporting the rest of your community in so many fabulous ways. And I don't know that there's very many cemeteries that do what you guys are doing.
Exactly. This is so impressive. I mean,
Yeah.
I wish.
Wow.
Yeah. I mean,
It's-
I hope that we become kind of like the flagship,
Yeah.
and spur other people, managers, owners, whatever. This is what you need to be doing.
Because
Um,
it's not a reach.
Right.
Like if you look at someone and you say, I promise to take care of your loved one, and they give you their loved one and you take them into your care, it's not a reach to then say, let me help you with your food scarcity. Let me help you with your Christmas presents, because you're already in an intimate relationship.
Yeah.
So cemeteries have I feel like the foot in the door.
Yes.
They just don't maybe know it.
To give back continuously.
It wasn't a reach though.
No,
for us.
no.
Well,
Yeah.
and I feel like for having a job where, as we talked about at the beginning, things can be really heavy because you're dealing with these grieving families. They're coming into you, and especially in circumstances where the death was unexpected,
Yes.
you take all of that in, you're absorbing that as the owners, your staff absorbs that as your staff members. So to have these other events and these other things that you guys can do to kind of help offset the hard part of the job, where again, this is stuff that obviously it brings the two of you joy. We can tell by the way you talk
Yeah.
about it, but
Yeah.
I'm sure your whole staff feels that way. This is joyous and momentous, and the whole community is smiling even through their tears. And it's something that like you said, I think a lot of cemeteries have not made that realization that they have the power in their communities to do that with everybody that's trusting them to take care of their loved ones after life.
You have to stick it out through the heart. I mean, our staffing was such a challenge for so long because nobody wants to come work for you if they don't know you or if there's
Right.
bad reputation. So there was that kind of hurdle to overcome. But eventually you gain momentum and you build trust. And then, now our team is a family.
It
And they
really
all
is.
love what they do. They're all good at what they do. And that's what we have attracted. And those who aren't like that, they don't stay.
No.
It's just, it's not the right fit.
But truly, also in the beginning, like I held an event when we first were there. I held an event where I was selling the flowers that we have for the families 50% off, and I had free hors d'oeuvres, and no one came. I was sitting there crying. I was like, no one wants to be.
We did things like that multiple
Now
times.
you can't keep flowers in the building. There's a local lady lady that works at Food Lion, and she makes the most beautiful flowers, and we buy them from her, and then we offer them to families, and we can't keep them for 24 hours.
But as soon as we post that we have them, they're gone within a few days.
Switch from nobody even wants to come talk to me to we can't keep them in the building.
But you can't give up. The Bible says something about, sow the seed. Like, you don't know what's going to work, what's not going to work. Like, just do it. Like, keep it out there, and it will not come back void. And you're going to go through a lot of hardship. You're going to have a lot of events where people don't show up, and that's okay. Just keep doing it. Keep doing it and build that trust, and you will gain momentum. But you have to have a heart for it. I don't think that anyone without a heart to really do this and really care for their community and really love people they're not going to stick it out.
Right.
And that's probably part of the challenge.
Well, you guys have done a phenomenal job. Your community is so lucky to have you. And a big part of that is you had a prayer and you listened. You didn't just be like, okay, we could, because as you said, you had other choices. You picked the right choice, obviously.
I submitted to this guy because I was out. Like, I was like, I'm sorry, but if there's another opportunity, he's like, nope. And so I was like, okay.
I had to stay strong, and that's one of the things. I mean, I read the word every day because I want to know what God has to say for me for that day before I get started and pray. And I kept trusting, and you were not happy for very many years. But you trusted me.
I did. So. I did. And then he got to look at me and go, told you so. And I was like, all right, whatever. But it's been worthwhile, and now our children work there, and we're doing more things.
Yeah.
We're gonna do a wind phone next. I'm so excited.
Oh, I love wind phones. Yes,
we have one. We have one at our cemetery, and they're pretty cool.
Awesome.
Yeah, I'm excited about that. That's our next. And we have a sidewalk chalk contest where we invite local kids. That's the other thing too. We don't say you have to have a loved one at Holly Hill to participate. Yeah. And we don't make it a business transaction. So I know there's some cemeteries that will host something like an event for Mother's Day, but then they'll have you gotta put in your information to get there. We never do that. Like, business is what it is. And so it's never about Holly Hill families. It's about family, period. Like, we have a sidewalk chalk contest, and we let kids come and decorate the sidewalks around our pond. And then all of our guests get to see the art. And it's just,
it's heartwarming because they usually write,
and everything works out.
They write messages like, thank you for your service, because they're sitting on the sidewalk and there's a veteran memorial. And so I remember that was one of the first ones, and it hit me. Yeah. I was like, wow, this little guy, how does he
notice that? Yeah. So if you love people well, then it matters. And then it works.
Yeah.
Well, I hope we have some other cemeteries out there listening that are trying to figure out how to become part of the community, and hopefully they will take some of the ideas that you guys have taken and build it up. And as you said, it takes time. It didn't happen overnight. It took years to build it up to where you guys have it now. And obviously, again, you were newcomers to your community, and as the daughter of somebody in the military who moved around a lot, yes, newcomers are always looked at with suspicion because
like, who are you?
Who's your mama? Yes. But if you do the right things and you work with the community and you're not trying to be above them or better than them or anything else, eventually it does pay off. And you guys have proved that so many times again and again and again with what you've got. And I'm so thankful that you guys reached out and wanted to be on the show, because this has been an absolute wonderful conversation.
You both are an inspiration. You really, really are.
Yes.
Oh, wow.
Thank
you.
That means a lot. I was just thinking we didn't give a lot of room for questions. I'm sorry. We just
no, we were just loving listening to your stories, and that's.
I'm sorry. I do want to give Jamal credit. He's the one that reached out.
Yes,
he did.
He did. That's what he does. He is working really hard every day to get our message out. Eric and I are just in our offices, and he's like, I'm getting you here, and I want you to do this, and we're like, okay, tell us where to be. That's Jamal.
Yeah.
Well, I am very glad that Jamal reached out, because we have absolutely enjoyed this conversation and learning about the two of you, about what you do for your cemetery, about your entire community. And I know your community realizes how important you are, but I just hope they appreciate just what they have that so many other communities are not as fortunate to have, because they don't have the two of you.
Definitely.
Well, well, Jeannie and Diane, we appreciate you guys doing what you do to bring awareness. That's huge. When Jamal told me a podcast about cemeteries, I was like, really? For real? And he was like, yeah, man. I was like, that is awesome. So thank you.
Thank you for
Thank
getting
you
the message out.
for what
Oh,
you do.
we
Yeah,
love it.
Yeah.
We had to create the podcast that didn't exist for us. So we
right.
thought, well, this is what we're going to do. And now for Diane and I, we have been so blessed to have so many fabulous guests on the show, and we have learned so much in 6 years from doing this. So we're
Nice.
thankful to be able to keep doing it.
Great. Great.
That's awesome. That's
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah. Well,
We Eric is the executive director of the North Carolina Cemetery Association. I'm a past president, so we'll probably be able to share this to the North Carolina
oh yeah,
Cemetery Association.
we will.
You might have some other cemeteries reach out.
We would love
wonderful.
that. Yes, we absolutely love having cemeteries on to
Good.
talk about theirs. It's so much better when it comes from the people that are
Yes.
part of the cemetery than the research that we can do and share, which we have done many times as well. But it's so much better to get the stories directly from the people that are there all the time, that interact with the families, that do all the things that we can only read about, and then we can relate in our way. But it's so much better when it comes directly from them. So we would love that.
Oh, good. We'll have to share it with all our members.
Sounds good.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
You're
Thank
welcome.
you.
Hopefully we'll talk to you again in the future.
Yep.
Thank y'all.
All right.
Thank you for joining us today. To learn more about today's episode, visit our website, theordinaryextraordinarycemetery.com, where you'll find additional links in our show notes. If you're watching on YouTube, please like and subscribe to our channel. And if you enjoyed this or any of our episodes, consider leaving a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or YouTube. Your support helps others find our show and discover all of our ordinary, extraordinary stories.
You can also follow us on social media for cemetery facts, photos, quotes, and more. We are on Facebook and Instagram at Ordinary Extraordinary Cemetery. If you'd like to help support us financially, you can donate a cup of coffee by clicking on the coffee cup icon on our website or YouTube, or purchase some of our fabulous Ordinary Extraordinary Cemetery merchandise through our store link.
Until we meet again.